I am back once again. I know it has been 3 months, but now I am finished, finally, with my Don Garlits rear engine dragster. And this is one that's been on the shelf for, well, ever. And I thought, I need to finally get out and build it. Wow, was I in for a shock. This is not a model for amateurs like me. Uh, I can actually get by enough to get it together, but let's just say the finished product is not going to be show worthy. And I really found out that there was a lot of pieces that I really did not even need to paint in order to even put this one on my shelf. Uh, I thought building the frame was a good idea. Get most of it together as much as possible, and then I would spray paint the whole frame together. Makes sense, right? Uh, but little did I know that once completed, at least for me, the frame was going to be 90% covered. So I could have done my painting pretty much with a brush, and it would have turned out. There it is, it's finished. I finished painting it. That took like so many coats of paint. It was not funny. Uh, wow. I mean, because it's black plastic. It was extremely difficult to cover. Also, I was not even using a regular model paint color for it. It was I think it was actually a kind of a household spray paint type model paint. Uh, but it still turned out okay. And like I said, kind of wished I hadn't have went through all the trouble, because I had to wait for good calm days in order just to be able to do it, because I do my spray painting outside. What am I doing there? I ask myself looking at it. This did not go together in a conventional means either. I'm painting the engine. That's what I'm doing. The step-by-step process on this was slightly different from other models. Also, probably getting ahead of myself just a tad, but there were a lot of pieces on this model that had a lot of flashover. Flashover is not fun to deal with, because some of the pieces on this model were very freaking tiny, and if it was flashed over bad enough, then unfortunately some of those tiny pieces, well, they broke, and I had to cobble them back together as best I could. Right there you see me using my little tiny drill to drill some stuff out to make it where it would work. Oh, I know what it was. I was fitting my ignition coils for the engine. That much I did at least do. I did put ignition coils on it, or ignition wiring. Even special ordered that yellow for the engine. Unfortunately, I did not do the fuel pump piping. Well, one thing, it wasn't going to be that visible, and two, it wasn't going to be visible. Once I put decals on this, pretty much the frame stays together. I'm not going to display it in any fashion without the body part on it. I'd have to cut through a decal to actually do it if I did. And just getting this little thing together was an engineering feat in itself for me. You know, how much can you stress that, hey, I'm an amateur modeler? And oh, why did it take 3 months to build? Well, okay, I'll tell you why. Because we've got a new puppy in the house now. And Miss Honey, our puppy, is a Catahoula leopard dog, and she required a lot of time. And it also meant that trying to build a model and keeping an eye on her was, well, it was a challenge. So I had to kind of work out when I could build and when she was going to nap. And then, because when she was running loose, I had to make sure she wasn't eating stuff she wasn't supposed to. There I am detailing out the frame as best I can, and I'm about to start putting the engine together, I believe, which the engine did go together really well. I was at least pleased with that. I did a fair amount of detailing on the engine to make it at least look good. I even picked up a picture off the internet of his Dragster with a good shot of the engine because I thought I was going to do more detailing than what I did. This just became an effort just to get it together. At one point, just removing the front wheels from the tree ended up breaking one of the wheels. I managed to find both pieces to get it glued back together. Matter of fact, that's what's happening right there. The other part of the detailing you saw going on there was, what was that? I was putting together a couple of pieces that broke as best I could to hopefully use them in the final assembly. I can see my supercharger and the air intake assembled right there, assembled and painted. And I'm picking out more pieces there for the, looks like probably the rear differential and all that. My spoiler, rear spoiler, just turned out so sad. It's slightly askew, well, because I did not get the framework quite lined up the way it should be. Oh, there's another thing. This model comes with the slicks in two halves. I really am annoyed by that to no end. They're made of rubber, so cement does not stick well to them to hold them together. So I said poo on that. I went to my junk box and found two matching slicks in relatively good condition and used those. So unfortunately, Don is no longer running on Goodyear. He's running on a couple of Roadmaster rear slicks. Don't think he'll be able to tell. And they're not highlighted with paint, so actually somebody just looking at the model won't be able to tell either. They matched up great. That worked out real well. So I was happy with that. I think I'm dinkling around with the engine there. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting the engine put together so I can eventually start doing the wiring. If you see the settings on this change several times, it's because it took so long to get it back together. That's okay. There I am cutting off parts and probably cussing as I cut off a part and the part broke. That looks like, yeah, even the exhaust pipes, which were not chrome, broke in half, cutting them loose. There was just, like I said, so much flash to deal with on this one, and such tiny pieces. This was definitely for an A-class modeler. So the fact that I got it together and it's, and it still looks halfway decent to me, it's one more off my list. So I could deal with that. Yeah, there you go. I was looking for something that evidently fell. Any pieces that fall on our carpeting, wow, I've got to have, what the heck happened to my light? I would like to know that. I got a different lighting situation going on there. I got to discover. There I am putting my wiring in, yes. I drilled out the distributor head, had a good big distributor head that I was able to use to drill out with my tiny drill and make that actually work So that worked out really nice. I didn't have to change out a whole bunch of something to make that work. When I disappear from the table, I'm obviously picking up something or chasing down my dog to get something out of her mouth. Yeah, it depends on how long I'm away from the table. All right, but it's starting to come together slowly. I'm doing a little detailing there to get the little pieces to stick so they don't eventually fall off later on. The inside was supposed to be painted gold. I'm like, what for? That's all well and good. No one can even see some of the gold I've even painted on it to begin with. I did not even put on all of the decals. Dragster has a ton of decals on it. I put enough on there just so that I can be satisfied with it. There I'm putting on the body frames, body panels around the frame. And as you can see, there goes my frame being covered up. There I am texting while I'm building. I can do that, you know. Because as amateur modeler, I do whatever the heck I want. I've got the front tires fixed, propped it up, and I'm getting ready to work on that doggone airfoil in the back. I will get that together, and then I will be done with this bad dog. What am I doing there? So much happening to make it. It's not a bad looking little model if you can take the time to do a lot of work on it. Yep, I'm putting the back spoiler on, which is going to be crooked. Oh well, crooked. I couldn't do anything to fix that, because once those parts are set like that and as small as they are, you don't want to go breaking them off and trying to redo them again. That's just a disaster combination right there. Alright, I'm finishing up this bad dog. I'm about to putting my slicks together. There she is. She's done. Now I'm putting on decals. Decals will go on fairly quick. And then once the decals are done, I took about 3 shots at the end of it, a little close up to give it a more overall picturesque quality. Decals were actually nice because they were old school decals, because they're like super old and they stuck really good. I'm going to do a little close-up thing with the camera here in a second. Doop doop doop. One more. There are the pictures. And hey, thanks for watching this incredibly boring video. I will work on something later on. Bye.